Welcome back to the Blocks Retro Repair YouTube channel. Today, we're going to try and repair this DJI Air that I bought off eBay. It's supposedly broken. I probably shouldn't have bought this thing. The eBay seller was a piece of shit and took 3 weeks to even ship the goddamn item. Ridiculous, but let's move on. The other issue is there is some undisclosed damage. The issue that I bought it with is that it doesn't have the motors don't turn on. But if we look over here, this wing has been glued back on and this arm is broken. That was all not disclosed on the eBay listing. Awesome. Let's go over what we got. We got the actual Air, we got the controller, we got 2 batteries, we got 3 propellers that aren't broken, and 1 that very much is broken. Awesome. So we definitely need some new propellers. We're definitely going to need a new arm. We'll see if we can even get this thing working first, though. It supposedly, again, doesn't even turn on the motors. That could be a problem. But as we can see here, that battery is a little bit charged, and this one is completely dead. Hopefully that'll take a charge. Let's plug it in and find out. And the answer to that question is no. It is not showing any signs of life. I'm going to let it sit here charging for a while to see if it wakes up, or if we're going to have to do some funny stuff to try and get this to work. The charger does work. I did plug this one in, and this one started charging, so it is an issue with this battery. Awesome. Again, more undisclosed issues. Luckily, we do have both joystick ends. However, this one's bent. Again, undisclosed damage. Though, to be fair, that's something you might not have even noticed, so I'll let it pass on that. Now, let's see if we can even get this thing to function. Let's turn this bad boy on. And let's turn the remote on. You're supposed to turn the remote on before the drone, okay? I know, but let's turn this bad boy on too. Now, I've connected it to the phone here, and it actually wasn't paired to the controller for some reason. So I've since paired it. Now we have a nice green light there. However, as you can see, we have an IMU calibration required. That's pretty common, but that'll also keep the motor from spinning. So let's do that calibration and see if it magically fixes this drone. That would be sick. Now let's run through the calibration and see if it doesn't fail. That would be awesome. How the hell am I supposed to sit it on its side? Look at that, it does balance on its side. I had to hold it up there to calibrate the side with the broken arm. But, now we just gotta do the back of it. I guess that's the front of it, actually. And finally, we calibrate the back. Let's see if this actually succeeds. But now we gotta set it upside down. Never mind. One more thing. Calibration successful. Holy shit! The Precision Fly database is outdated, so we do need to update that, but I don't think that'll stop the motors from running. I don't think, at least. We're gonna ignore that for now. Why can't we take off? It might be too close to things. That actually might be why. Let's move this a little bit away from things and see if we can try again. There we go. We have a ready to go. It's on vision. I believe I have it in sport mode. If I turn it over to this mode, that didn't change anything. Oh, yeah, it didn't change anything. Now let's just see if we can get this thing to launch. I think it's the same as my Phantom. Here we go! All 4 of those motors are spinning. Holy shit! Well, that was simple. Sure would be nice if that arm wasn't broken, though. Darn. Well, this wasn't much of a video. That was way easier than I expected it to be, but I guess replacing that arm will be a hell of a video. Though, I'm not going to be able to get one of those for a while, because I think I'm going to order it from AliExpress, because I can buy just that arm on Amazon with the motor for $50, or I can buy just the plastic arm, which is what I need, off AliExpress for like $15. So we're going to do that, because spending $50 on this is not really worth it for me. I think maybe we'll try doing to that wing that they did to this one and reattach it with some glue. It looks like they might have done that before and then electrical taped it. I'm not sure. But if they did it for that one, maybe we can do it for that one. Let's find out. I guess it's time we see if we can fix this wing. I guess we need to get off this bright yellow electrical tape and see what we're dealing with. First things first, we need to get off this yellow electrical tape. It looks like we should be able to just peel this off here gently. Now, let me just fold in the rest of these wings, actually. Or arms, or whatever the hell you want to call them. Okay, is there a fucking pattern you gotta fold these up in? Where the hell is this hitting this one? I don't think it hit it before. Oh, because I never folded up the foot. There we go. As you can see, I'm new to Mavic Airs. I have a Phantom 4 Pro, and that's about the extent of my drones. I just wanted something a little bit smaller, because the Phantom 4 is a bit oversized for a lot of things. It's a great drone, handles really well in slight breezes and stuff, but it's kind of hard to fly in small spaces. Oh boy. They use fucking glitter glue! Now I have to get all of the glue out of these arms here so I can glue it back in the exact right position. If I have a little bit of glue, it's going to hold it at the wrong angle, which could cause flight issues. Though this one's glued at the wrong angle, so I don't know if this actually matters that much. Okay, I could see this working. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of sandpaper here, and I'm actually going to rough this plastic up just to make it a little bit more rough to hopefully make it so our plastic weld grips a little bit stronger. And this stuff's pretty strong. I had to absolutely fight this thing to get the goddamn cap off, so hopefully this will hold. There we go, that ought to help. Let's just clean that off with some isopropyl, and we should be ready to glue this bad boy. Slight change of plans. The plastic weld apparently gone bad. Luckily, I decided to test it first before I put it on the drone. So we're going to just basic JB weld. This is steel reinforced. It should cure in 4 to 6 hours, and should bond to this plastic fine, and honestly will probably be stronger than factory, as long as we do it right. So, this is what we're going to use, assuming this isn't bad as well. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Both of them come out evenly and correctly. That should be, whoa, that should be way more than we need. Let's mix that up. That's looking like a beautiful, nice gray consistency. Let's try and apply this stuff. This is going to be rather difficult. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to catch any of this on camera. I'm going to focus on actually getting it on the drone. Now, pro tip, well, honestly, I have no idea if it's a pro tip. I just did it because I honestly have no idea what else to do. I actually plastic welded it in a few spots, well, touch a soldering iron to it to melt the 2 pieces of plastic together, so it'll hold in place while the epoxy dries. The plastic weld is not going to hold this together permanently, obviously. It's just going to hold it in place for the actual epoxy to hold it and permanently dry in the correct position. So now I'm going to layer a few more layers of epoxy over top and on the inside of this, just to get a nice build up, nice bond where all the plastic is. And this should be ready to go in, well, tomorrow morning. Probably tomorrow evening. I have work tomorrow. And there we go. I think when that dries, we should be left with an arm that's stronger than factory. If not, pretty damn close. So let's let this thing dry. I gotta figure out a good angle. I think probably just laying on its side like this will be the best angle to let that dry at. And hopefully none of that epoxy drips into the hinge. Maybe I should do something about that. That would really suck. And it has now been around 24 hours, so that epoxy has had plenty of time to dry, and it is now hard as a rock. So let's give this thing a flight. As you can see, I've put the propellers back on. We're going to run this cracked propeller, well, this broken off propeller. It should fly with it broken off just fine. If it's not, we'll fly it indoors here first, make sure it's going to be stable, and then we'll take it up. Obviously, I already have new propellers on order. As you can see, I've also have the drone registered. I have a remote ID module on it that's also registered, and broadcasting this drone's information. So we are fully FAA compliant. Because, well, I don't like it, but I also don't want the fucking, what is it, a federal offense? So, yeah, we're gonna do theft the legal way. It's really not all that expensive. Registration's $5 for 3 years. I already had it for my Phantom 4, and you don't have to pay for any more. It's just a one-time for as many drones in that amount of time as you want, pretty much. So I just slapped another one on, registered it with the FAA bullshit. I have a Holy Stone for the Phantom 4 as well, so I just reprogrammed it for this drone's information and slapped it on. So let's get this thing up in the air and see if it'll work. As it would turn out, we need new batteries. There's the drone. So it basically went from 4% to 0%, well, by 4%, I mean 4 minutes of runtime to 0 minutes of runtime in a matter of 1.2 seconds. I was on the return home, and it immediately said, must land now, critically low battery, 0% battery remaining, and it glided it down nicely right here in the grass. Still had GPS, so I was able to track it to where it was, but yep, we need new batteries. Oh yes, FAA had direct line of sight of the drone the entire time. When you see a drone go down in a giant open field like this, it's kind of hard to locate. So I did bring out the Phantom 4, but then I ended up not using it and just tracked the GPS, because again, that's the nice thing about a GPS drone. It decides to say, hey, we're landing now, it at least shows you exactly where it landed. So there was no need for a search and rescue mission with the Phantom 4. With that, I'm pretty happy with the drone. We still have an issue with the rear cameras. I believe there might be a calibration issue. I'll have to download the software and do all that. And we definitely have an issue with these 2 batteries. That one obviously is completely dead, and this one, you know, it might recalibrate itself after a few runs, so hopefully we'll bet on that. This one, I did see there's ways to revive these batteries, and a lot of people swear by it, so we'll probably look into doing that in the future, because I then looked up these batteries and realized they're like $50 a piece, which, 2 of the batteries would cost about what I paid for the entire drone. Speaking of which, I paid, I think, around $110 for the drone, so not an insanely good deal, but, I mean, if we got both batteries functional, like the seller said, well, we'd be actually golden, but, you know, things work out a little bit differently than what eBay sellers claim sometimes. But also, we ended up with a pretty easy fix, just needing calibrated and everything, so I'll take it. And yes, we're still going to replace both of these arms. While I have absolute faith that these are going to hold up, or at least mine will, I ultimately think the drone would benefit from these all being angled the correct original position. While I'm pretty sure I angled mine perfectly, or pretty much perfectly, I know for a fact they didn't because it doesn't exactly fold up properly, as you can see. So I know for a fact they did not glue that in the exact right position, so I'm sure this drone would benefit from that being replaced. So, we're going to replace all that, but ultimately, for 110 bucks or whatever I said I paid for it, that's pretty good. I'll take it. Yes, I still plan to and yes, I still plan to repair. What the fuck? As you can now see, it looks a little bit different. I was able to actually just use some isopropyl alcohol and remove all of that old paint. I believe that the silver might have been either Sharpie or just paint pen, and the rest I believe was just water-soluble paint. So a little bit of isopropyl took it all off, and it looks so much better in my opinion, without all that really crappily done paint. This looks much better. I have flown it a few times. It flies great. The rear cameras actually ended up fixing themselves. I guess they were just out of calibration. I never actually calibrated them, but they started working. So it's a fully functional drone now. I have a feeling whenever I go to replace these arms, I'll actually fix this top panel. I don't know if I'll replace it. I'll probably just fix these holes and then just vinyl wrap it a nice color or something. I have a bunch of vinyl wrapping and just wrap that whatever color I want. I think that would look sick. And yeah, for 100 bucks, I like it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I work on a ton of different things here. Obviously, this is the first drone I've worked here on this channel, but maybe I'll buy some more in the future. Honestly, I just wanted this one because, well, it's a little bit easier to fly around than the Phantom 4. Plus, if I wreck it, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a Phantom 4.